A question people ask is, what would you choose for your last meal? This is mine. Steak frites. We're leaning a little bit Asian with it. It's going to be so delicious, comes together really quickly, and it's fun to make. Let's get to it. What I season my steak with, it's kind of a take on like a tiger's tear steak, which is like a Southeast Asian steak. And then we'll do some 5-spice seasoned fries at the end. For our seasonings, we're gonna toast them up first. We're gonna start with some chili flake. This is actually chipotle chili flake, but you can use whichever kind you want. We're gonna do about like a 1/4 teaspoon of that, not much. We're gonna do 1 teaspoon of white peppercorns. You can also use black pepper if you prefer. Coriander seed, 1 teaspoon. Fennel seed, this is going to be about a 1/2 teaspoon. When you're toasting spices, the flavor that you get is completely different from just straight out of a jar or whatever. Dry pan, don't add any oil or anything like that. That will bring out the natural oils in the flavor, and the toastiness of it is just so good. The tell for this is the coriander seed. It's going to start popping, almost like popcorn. As soon as that starts happening, then the spices are toasted. You can bring them out. We'll put them in the mortar and pestle. I'm going to grind that up pretty finely. I mean, it's naturally going to be coarse when you do it by hand like this. To that, 1/2 teaspoon of porcini powder, porcini mushroom, 1 teaspoon of coarse salt, 1/2 teaspoon of a fine sea salt, like a teaspoon of olive oil. This is fish sauce. Some people are scared of this ingredient. Please don't be. It is so tasty. It's a seasoning. You know, it has a strong flavor, but when it's mixed with a bunch of other stuff, it's perfect. A lot of times you'll treat it like salt. It's very salty. So we're gonna go just probably 2 teaspoons of that. 1/2 teaspoon of soy sauce, using gluten-free for us. Gluten-free oyster sauce, 2 teaspoons of that. And then honey, we're gonna do 1 teaspoon. Mix that all till uniform. So that marinade, just a little bit on top. Just spread it around with your hand or with your tongs or whatever. It doesn't have to be exact. Flip. This is now going to sit and wait until it's time to cook. In that time, we're going to give our potatoes their first cook, which is just a nice boil to soften the texture on the inside and create some texture on the outside that will crisp up really well in the fryer. To our pot of water here, no salt or anything, but we are going to add white wine vinegar. I would say for every quart of water that you have in there, you know, maybe like a capful, like a couple teaspoons. It doesn't have to be exact, but what the vinegar does is it actually helps the potato to stay together after it's boiled. I just peel the outside edge and I leave the tops because I like having the skin on the ends of my French fries. And then we just pass them through the French fry cutter, and then we'll just rinse them off to get off excess starch. Then they'll be ready to go into the pot of our boiling water for 5 to 6 minutes, not super long. For a cutter like this, we're using the 1/4 inch blade distance. Makes a nice thin fry. It's my preference. Just right through. Into our bowl to rinse. To keep with our timing, we are going to heat up our grill. So I'm going to grill this inside. You can grill outside. It's just on like medium high. If you're doing it in a pan, I would not use this marinade if you're going to cook your steak in a pan. The sugars in it will burn. But if you do decide to cook your steak in a pan, then, I mean, medium high with just some herbs, garlic, salt, pepper, impeccable. Was really only like 5-6 minutes, as I said. Drain. I'm gonna take this over. Sheet pan lined with paper towels. You can see that we've got some fluffing around the edges, and that's exactly what you want because that's what's going to create the crisp exterior on the French fry. But these need to cool down. We're just going to set them off to the side and allow them to just kind of do their thing. So next is to cook the steaks, but before that, we want to make sure that we're set up to cook the fries as soon as the steaks are done. So we're going to put our oil on. If you have a fryer, feel free to use that. For my frying, I do a mix of beef tallow and peanut oil. If you can go all beef tallow, it does get pretty foamy. Having peanut oil in there, it has like a different viscosity level, and so it will cut down on the foaming. I actually do like 1.5 parts peanut oil to 1 part of beef tallow because this stuff is expensive. The beef tallow, 1 full jar of that. This was sitting in my fridge, so it's still a little set up. So this is not like a deep fry, and I'm not going to cook all of these fries at once. We're going to do them in batches. This is controversial, but I always add a couple drops of water. As this comes up to temperature, the water in there will start to crackle, and that tells me that it's getting close. Again, like 2 tiny drops of water. Oil's going to be heating up. Now it's steak time. Oh gosh. While that grills, this is a great time to make our spice rub. We also have a sweet and spicy ketchup that we are going to make for dipping, but right now we're going to start with some fine sea salt. We have about 2 teaspoons of the salt, and we're going to do 1 teaspoon of the 5 spice. And then I have cardamom, and this I only want just like the tiniest little pinch. It's just a little something in the back. But this is a great flavor, and on the fries it's going to be perfect. Steaks are ready to adjust. Hey, come here, come here. Listen, you hear it? I've got the fan on so you can't hear it very much, but the oil's starting to bubble, starting to pop. That means the water in there is hitting the boiling point. So we want this to come up to about 375. Make sure you're just like on a good medium, and you shouldn't overcook this. And we're gonna do a test fry once we actually feel like we're at the right temperature. Steaks are cooked. Now here we are back to our fries. We are ready to do a test fry, I think, in the oil. Frying temperature's good. Heavens. That's a good fry. Let's fry them up. Just keep an eye on these. You'll see them start to brown up on the outside, but they will not get, because of the vinegar and the water, they will not get like brown like a fresh cut potato will. So you can pull them out and just kind of eyeball it. And you can see the crispness on the outside because they're cooked all the way through already. So as soon as the outside is crisp, you're good to go. And with some of the seasoning here. Toss. Oh, the smell on it. It smells so good. And then we're going to lay it out on our tray here. Hot! As the fries are cooking, I'm also going to make the dipping sauce, which is just like a sweet spicy ketchup. 3 ingredients on this. Ketchup, you're going to do probably, I would say, 3 parts. 1 part sweet chili sauce. Hoisin sauce, 1 part of that as well. And we test it. It's No flop in that fry. Oh man, but it's still really hot. Still bites. Ow. Fries are ready, so is the steak. Let's plate this up. Kind of overlap on the side. You can even open it up a little bit. That looks perfectly cooked to me. And that is how I do steak frites. And the smells that are coming off of this plate right now are ludicrous. But how's it taste? Let's give it a try. First of all, the crunch. That's so good. It's gonna blow your mind. It's going to blow your mind. But frites is the second thing in the name. How's the steak? I kid you not, this is one of the best things I've ever made. It's perfect. It's perfect. I would not change a thing about it. The spice level for me, it's a great medium. The combination in the flavors between the steak and the French fries, they both lean a little bit Asian, but they're completely different. And so they support each other. The flavors in the ketchup as the dipping sauce, it's so good. Y'all have got to try this one. If you don't make anything else that I've made, make this. Treat yourself. You deserve it. You are gonna love it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you've ever made steak frites, if you have your own recipe, would love to hear about it. And I hope that you make this for yourself and for somebody that you care about. Oh my gosh. It's so good.